Alright, hey guys, Alyssa Semirana here. Figured I'd actually take the time to help anybody who's on Onslaught Fortress, since the map and the boss buff system are two different parts, but both are the same pieces of the whole puzzle. Let me explain everything in the terms of the menu, and what weapons you ideally want to run for Onslaught Fortress. With that being said, let's go about that, and let's talk about the Onslaught shop first. Now, these Onslaught tokens that you see at the top of the screen, you can only get them from clearing contracts, or collections in this case. But you can also get some of them from getting the Conqueror points. I actually recommend that anyone who asks me what you get first from this, you get the Zartan head mace for an extra life and critical rate, and if you got points to spare after that, try getting the mini Manticore pieces, which essentially does something similar to the head mace. If you got those, you're going to need the Manticore Red Doll next, or the Bolt Red Doll. These both, whenever you combine them with their respective blue dolls, will give you the Gold Doll, which gives you crit rate, which you'll need very much. And these work for ZM rank too. These particular dolls work for ZM rank whenever you gold them. The hit effect, you could use this in normal matches, but it won't affect zombies. Now, got all those things? Next up, the grenade is okay, but it's slower. It does have a slightly wider field of explosion though, so take that as you will and bring it with you in normal modes if you'd like. Just be ready, because it's going to take a while to prepare. And finally, the 9A91. Okay, I don't even need to explain this, but in case I do, if you're not going to get the Wild Eagle or you can't, next best alternative is to get this. With that being said though, let's then talk about the special token shop. Now these tokens are from old bosses, so bosses like Bolt, Zartan, Ivy, Ashen Taurus, and Colossus. You'll get a 5-star box from actually defeating these without dying and with contributing at least 5% of their health when you kill them. To get the Dr. Bolt character, you essentially need to get 5 of these bosses killed, and I already have them, but I use Florence instead. Let me go into storage real quick. I didn't know someone joined. Let me lock the room first, actually. I don't want people getting the wrong idea. Okay, there we go. So, special tokens. Now you can still use the Bolt tokens if you have any excess, like I did, to make the Ivy Red Doll and the Ashen Taurus Red Doll. Be keeping in mind though, you need the blue doll to make them gold, and yes, they both come with crit rate, even though they don't outwardly mention it. If you also have spare pieces, you can make mini bolts with enough of them, and you can guess what that does. It does the same similar kind of thing as the mace and the mini Manticore. Now, you can also take the chance of getting 2 more particular dolls if you get the Hexopterus tokens, which are from the newer bosses: Haze, Lilith, Nemesis, Manticore, Frostbite, Void Dominator, those bosses. Oh, and Allspark as well. But you'll need Hexopterus tokens, which are only attainable from the 5-star variations. You can also get Hexopterus, which is useful in ZM4 because he has an attack, but it's not that powerful after a while. Now you can get the mini Allspark from normal boxes, but if I were you, and you have these tokens each week, always get this box, so you can get cards easily. But now I want to talk about the exploration shop. So you get these free. You get each of these free, and they contain a random collection, even though they talk about having a specific collection. This one, though, is your main one. You want this collection for the sake of, you guessed it, the counterattack collection, which now I can get into. So, with ZM4, you have boss collections you can clear. I already posted these, so I can just pretty much get my clearance for them. Now, if you posted these from before ZM4's counterattack, they were removed. So if you have any more of these kinds of collections, like the Platinum Zartan, you can still pop them. But remember, Zartan and Dr. Bolt are still rare. Do not, under any circumstance, use the 5-star unless you've got the boss buff needed. The same goes for any bolt-related collections. But yeah, you can select boss collections, you can slot them as you get them, and you can get rewards cumulatively from them. If you're missing other ZM Maps rewards, this is the best way to get them. Anyways, with that said, I'm going to place this real quick because it's actually a pretty easy collection to deal with. The one collection I was talking about that is actually the rarest collection of them all, because some of these actually are good, like Tamed Dimensional Beast, or Twisted Scientist, or 3 Bodies, 1 Mind, or Mightiest AI, but don't do this one because the boss is very, very powerful. The one thing that you're trying to get here is this particular collection. In ZM4 Onslaught Fortress, the original, there was a collection that was like this called the Platinum Final Battle. But in this case, you've got the Bugle of Counterattack. Why this collection is important is pretty dang easy. You can get your hands on the AK-47 Knife Steampunk. Yes, the real bona fide VIP steampunk. But it's not easy. A few of these bosses are gimmicky, and that would be Lilith and Nemesis. Well, no. Nemesis and Lilith are kind of invulnerable for some periods, or have the ability to move around a lot. So these two are annoying. This one has a constant shield that only leaves whenever she's doing powerful attacks. Manticore has to have his horns broken to take any significant damage, and you need the M4 protocol to do that. And finally, Hexopterus, the 5-star that basically will screw you if you don't know what you're doing. I'll explain later. But yeah, this collection essentially will give you the Knife Steampunk. It's okay, though. Like, if you don't like your AK-47 Fury, I guess you could use it. It's an upgrade to it. But if you're like me and you have multiple AKs, you don't need this. 1 second while I refresh so I don't get booted for idle. But the other VIP box you saw there, I'll explain that one. This gives you one of a few weapons, and I can show them real quick from the inventory. Plus you get Onslaught pieces. So, the weapons in question that you can get from that are in the Awakening tab. And you can get any one of these. You can get the Cap Chainsaw Wildshot Gold. You could get the Vepr Rampage Gold. But another contract has this, so you basically would be wasting your time. You can get the Gatling Gun Wildshot Abyss. This is better than the Wildshot that's listed inside the ordinary collections. So get this if you can. You can get your hands on the Spaz 12 Void Gold, or Void Red in this case, which you'll need for this map. It's the most powerful shotgun in the map. And you can get your hands on the M4A1-S Mech Green, which eventually turns to the gold if you get enough power. Overall, this weapon is actually a pretty good weapon in most maps, so getting it is useful. Excuse me, my nostrils are really messed up. Give me a second, everybody. May have to vacuum a little later. Okay. With that being said, those are all the weapons you can get from that VIP collection. The rest of these you have to earn in different ways. Like the P90 Frenzy, remember those gold and crystal boxes I showed you through some collections? You can get it with a chance with those particular collections. But it costs a heap of Awakening Jewels to get upgraded. So keep that in mind. The Righteous Shotgun can also appear from these boxes, and you'll want it for older maps because it does a good work of cleaning up mobs. But yeah, that's all the weapons you can get from that VIP collection box. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the boss buff system, because the boss summoning cards I can use inside zombies to show you. So this boss buff system, this is actually relatively easy. For anyone who's just coming into zombies, and you probably might be confused about how you go about raising these, you have one of two ways to do it. The first way to do this is to kill the bosses. But trust me when I tell you, it is not worth it. You need someone who has a lot of them, and it's gonna definitely consume a lot of your time. If I were you, if you see these Awakening Jewels drop in your match, you need to gather 350 of them total. That way, you can raise all the way through this grid, and then raise all the way through most of this grid. You can't raise through 4-star rarity monsters. So any 4 stars, you have to kill. You don't have to necessarily summon them yourself. But anything 4-star, you have to kill. Like with Hexopterus, you see how it's 5 out of 6? I can't raise it. And anything, of course, with 5-star, you have to kill. Now, this one is plagued with 4 and 5-star bosses, so I'm just going to warn you outright. You are probably going to be here a while. Do not be surprised. But Stage 2 is hard. You'll see this because this is a card that was rare in the last one. 5-star Dr. Bolt. You're not going to get this guy anytime soon, and if you do, it's a sign to hold on to it. You can trade getting Dr. Bolt for other cards that are rarer. For example, of everything in this grid, this particular card, 4-star Hexopterus, is the rarest thing you can get for the 4 stars, along with Manticore. So make sure that you actually get the chance to do this. And the reason that you want to raise these is simple. You're getting buffs that will benefit you in your matches, and they go across the board, stacking with your enhanced power and other buffs. Critical damage in this case will make your damage spike up massively. I recommend it if you've got spare ZP, and HP is obvious. But yeah, that's about everything. I hope this helped, but I still have a part 2. So, I'll see you guys soon with part 2. Peace, peace.